So Tracy, we get a lot of calls from clients that have a problem paying their customers when there's a refund due. In other words, there's a credit on the account and they have to, rather than apply it to another bill, they need to get a check sent out to the client to refund whatever balance that is. Do you know how to solve that problem in Mass 90?
Yes, we do. There's a feature there that's called Customer Vendor Link. And what it does, it takes the open credit memo on the customer and actually transfer it over to any particular vendor, and so you can actually cut a check for that particular vendor. So,
oh, I see.
So,
okay.
So we have that out there, and so I'd like to show you this.
So it actually creates a vendor?
You take a vendor that's either, you can either create a vendor for that matches the customer, or you can use a catch-all vendor. So that's based on what you want.
Like a not-on-file vendor?
Yes, like a not-on-file vendor.
A one-time vendor or something like that?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. I guess it depends on how many, the volume of transactions that you have of this nature, which way you would go. Because you might need an audit trail of who you're paying through accounts payable that way. So if you had a lot, you probably would want to create one per customer, or if it was only once in a blue moon, you could use a not-on-file vendor. Either way. Well, if you could show that to me, I'd appreciate that, because that's a very frequent support request that we get, is how do I process a refund check for a customer? And so I'm glad that this is automated. Let's take a look.
Okay, Lynn, let me show you. Right now I'll go into customer maintenance, and I'll bring up a customer that has a few credits on file. I'll bring up my favorite, American Business Futures. If I come over here to their transactions, it gives a list of all the transactions that they have for this customer. And at the top here, I can see that there's a couple credit memos. We'll choose the first one, 2313. We'll do this credit memo here. Now what I want to do is process this credit memo and bring it over to the vendor side so they can process a check. First things first, I'll minimize this. And now what I do is I'll go into accounts payable, and I'll see if there's a vendor out there for that customer. I'll do list, and now there's a vendor out there, American Business Futures, on the vendor side. Once I go into setup, it has the vendor and customer link maintenance. In vendor customer link maintenance, this is where I establish the customer and what vendor I want that transaction process to. So I'll go into the customer, and I'll bring up American Business Futures, and now I'll go into the vendor, and I'll also bring up American Business Futures. So now this is where the link is established. And once I hit accept, this process will be completed. Now that that's been established, I come over to period and processing and accounts payable. Here's where I have the AR, AP and AR clearing selection, and I also have the AR clearing entry. On the selection, what it allows me to do, it allows me to select every credit memo out there for that particular customer. Now sometimes some customers want to do it and sometimes they don't. The customers that I deal with, they want to be more selective, so they want to be able to choose them one by one. So we're not going to use this feature. What we're going to do is go into AP and AR clearing entry. So now that I'm here, I go in and I choose the customer. Again, I pick American Business Futures. Notice how the vendor number comes up automatically. And now what I'm doing is I'm going to actually select the credit memo. I use this here to actually give me a list of all their open invoices. And here, well, I just go, so this is the one I want to bring over. The one for $165.75. I select it. Okay, and you notice it's in the lines now. I can go through and select as many as I want, but we're just going to do this particular one. Once I finish, I'll just go ahead and hit accept. I'll come out of this menu, and now I'll go into AP and AR clearing register. What I'll do here, since I would want to print out to a printer, I'll just preview. And the preview will show you Let me enlarge this so it makes it a little easier to see. The preview will show you, it'll show the customer, American Business Futures, the vendor, again, American Business Futures. It'll show the credit memo that I'm transferring, the credit to AR, and it'll show what mass will create the accounts payable open invoice in accounts payable, and it'll show the debit to AP. Also, once I get out of here, it also shows the general ledger posting. Let me enlarge this also. And you'll see that it does, this feature actually kills two birds with one stone. It shows the debit to AR, and it shows the credit to AP. So now you don't have to go back there and do a journal entry after this has been completed. Once this is done, I'm going to go ahead and update the AR AP clearing register. And for now, I'm not going to actually print the daily transaction register. And so now let's go back and check in the results, Lynn. I'm going to go into the customer maintenance, choose my American Business Futures, go into transactions, and now if we go into our customer, it will see the credit memo. Here's the balance, and here's the payment. And it has a little entry out here called clearing. Now let's go check the results in the vendor. I go over here to vendor maintenance. I choose American Business Futures. I go into transactions. Move this up a little bit. And now here, this right here is one for $165.75. Now it's here ready to be processed. Also, let me, I'll drill down, and you'll see the AP and AR clearing in the comment field, and it'll show the customer where it came from. So that actually you can keep track of all the different customers that you've done this transaction for. Let me come out of here, come out of here, and there, Lynn, there's an easy way to process a credit memo to an open AP so you can actually run checks for that. It's that easy, Lynn.